énorme plaisir d'être avec Ardek de CARACH ANGREN. On est à la maroquinerie et ils jouent ce soir. C'est la première fois qu'ils sont en tête d'affiche d'une tournée en Europe. Et nous sommes très heureux de les avoir avec nous ce soir sur United Rock Nations.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Well, Ardek, thanks a lot for your time. We've got exciting things to talk about. Since, as I was saying to our viewers, this is the first time that you guys in CARACH ANGREN are headlining in Europe. So you must be very excited to finally headline your own tour.
Yeah, super excited, and it's the longest tour we've ever done, so that's a cool thing as well. We're combining festival dates with club dates, and yeah, third day today, so we're excited.
Yeah, the tour has just started. You guys played in Germany first, and now you're playing in France, and you're going to be at Hellfest as well. It is not the first time that you guys played at Hellfest, so you guys are familiar with Clisson and all the mood there.
Yeah, Hellfest is amazing, and we love to play France. We played France a lot already from the very beginning when we released Lamendam, and even before that, I think. So, yeah, France is a warm place in our heart, and we're glad to finally headline and come out here.
You guys are always welcome here. You know that. Perfect. Okay, so the show, you guys through the years have been really improving your stage machinery and all that. You have like exciting keyboards that move in all direction. You got smoke screen and all that. Could you tell us a bit more about how it came to be and who's behind all that machinery?
Well, first, this tour we're gonna have a little bit of more of a compact setup, which is a bit of a shame, but it has to do with logistics and because it's a long tour. But usually, for example, with the moving keyboard, I was telling my brother, like, I wanted to go up and down, and he is in engineering. He has a lot of experience in it. So one time he came, said, I have something better, and he came with this thing that's moving everywhere. So, yeah. So yeah, and we have a lot of theatrics going. We now have this crazy doll on stage with Seragore's kind of girlfriend. And so we're always developing, trying new ideas. Yeah. We're gonna have the full production at Hellfest. So,
okay, so you guys better be there, because we should mention that you are brothers in CARACH ANGREN. I mean, there is your brother Namtar plays the drums, and he helps with the machinery on stage. All right. So you guys are famous for your storytelling and your music that you describe as horror metal. So since the very beginning, you've released concept albums about ghost stories, stories of abuse and death. Did the idea of writing concept album came from the start, or did you guys just it came to be like that?
it was indeed like more intuitive, because I remember when we first formed the band, I was very eager to get a release out. So I was like, let's do like 3 or 4 tracks and have like a little CD to spread it out. And I was like, we had some songs, some ideas, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to have like one team also to compose music? It makes more sense, like you can connect things. And we found out about the Chasefold tragedy, that story about the moving coffins on Barbados, and we did it. And the funny thing is, like, there are concept albums, and especially in power metal around that time, prog metal, but not in black metal at all, like we did, like literally telling stories. So that was like, oh, that's cool, and it worked out. And it was sort of a way to make albums. It's not like, okay, we have a song about this, we have a song about that, but it was like a cohesive way of composing and writing lyrics. So we kept doing it and developing it, and yeah, trying to become better at it with every release. So we're still doing it, yeah.
How do you research the stories that you want to tell in the albums?
Usually there is like a vague idea or something we read or something we see, and we try to develop it. With the first album, it was a story near Seragore's home, actually. It was very unknown, but it was a really cool story, Lamendam Blanche. It also has to do with France. So that was a really cool thing. We could put in all these languages and stuff. That Came Through Phantom Ship was, of course, a known legend. It was like a national legend from the VOC and Captain van der Decker. With This Is No Fairy Tale, we come up with a completely insane story Hansel and Gretel from a modern perspective. So that was like a reinvention of that. And with the latest album, we came up with a lot of existing stories, but also made up stories, and try to combine them in an overarching story. So we're always trying to do something different and new, because it keeps us excited as well. If you make 10 ghost stories, it's like, I fall asleep. So.
All right. When you write new material, do you start with the concept in mind, and then you write the music, or is it the other way around?
For me, it's usually I have to have an intuitive feeling. So it can be already a vague idea, like what the story is about. But for example, I've been writing new songs for a new album, and this one started really weird. I had like a nightmare, and I woke up, and I had like this really terrifying image of something, and I was like writing it down and trying to draw it, and I had like even a melody in my head. And I put it on a whiteboard for months, and looking at it and trying things, and that's how it somehow starts going. And sometimes you forget about it, you try new things. So it's very intuitive. It's not like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and music is something you cannot force. Sometimes I try. I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a song. I sit there for 8 hours, and I'm like, nothing happens. And I walk away, I come back, and I press something, and I'm like, that's it. So it's something you have to let go. It sounds very abstract, but yeah, that's the way I work, at least.
Where do you get your inspiration, musically speaking?
Well, I got a lot from classical composers and movie scores. These days I also try to listen to different styles of music. I've been listening, for example, to Nine Inch Nails a lot. I don't know why. It somehow pulled me in. But I don't try to really think too much about, okay, I'm gonna sound like this or that. That's what I said, like I'm sitting down, and it can be, I can have an idea, like for example, I had a dream, was terrifying, or maybe I was trying to run away, and I'm trying to sit at the piano, like what does it sound like if I want to try to run away, and you start like, all this crazy shit comes out, and you develop it. So it's like an ongoing process. It's hard to explain. It's really intuitive, and following a guide. Yeah.
Could you quickly walk us through a typical CARACH ANGREN composition? I would say a working plan.
Well, usually I start at the piano, because you have all these possibilities, and it's my background, and you can do a lot of things harmonically. And I start rhythmically. Sometimes it starts in the car. A lot of times, for example, I give you example the riff from In de Naam van de Duivel, on the last album. I'm driving, and I get this in my head. I take my phone secretly, police number, and I'm like, I'm recording it in my phone. I save it, and I come home and I listen. I'm like, oh, I like it, and then I play it, because a lot of these ideas come when you are not actually forcing it. What I told you. So that's a nice example. And then I always want a very good start, and I need a riff that's captivating. I want to jump out of my chair. If I don't jump out of my chair, I cannot expect fans to jump out of the chair and be excited. So it has to be exciting. Then I develop it. Sometimes I add guitars myself. I play a little guitar these days myself. And I try to typically develop it into a finished song, like all the parts, and put the orchestration. So it's pretty much finished already pretty soon. And sometimes I finish it in a couple of days and then send it out to the guys, and they shoot on it, and we change around a bit. And then it develops into a full song. Yeah. So that's the way it goes usually. Yeah.
How is it to work with your brother on a musical project? There's been a lot of brothers doing music. How do you guys experience that?
Well, I don't think we really think about it, because we have been doing this so long already, and it's kind of a natural thing. We have a lot of similarities, but we're also good at very different things. So he's the drummer, I cannot drum, and I'm the composer, and he's not doing these things. So we have very distinctive functions in the band, as well as with Cerebor. So that's why it works like a well-oiled machine. I have had previous bands, and sometimes there were more composers who wanted to be the main composer, and then it's difficult because it's always giving and taking. It's hard, and then it can drag the process. So I like my part of the cake, and Dennis Sarah was really visual and has all this crazy acting and voice, and I'm always thinking like, how will it sound when he comes singing in? And also for writing the new album now, he has come in a lot, Sarah Gore. We've been trying out a lot of things on the spot, so writing together. Yeah. So, but back to your question, that's yeah, it's nothing we really think about too much, but I'm really grateful that it works the way it works. So yeah.
Let's talk about the show now. At the beginning, I mean, when I first saw you guys back in, it was like 7 years ago. Serigo was still playing the guitar while singing at the same time, which is remarkable, given the difficulty. I mean, of the guitar parts and the singing at the same time. But for a few years now, he's been only singing, which gives him the opportunity to be on stage and act, really give this presence. When did you guys realize that you wanted to go that way instead of having him as a guitar player at the same time?
Yeah. Well, what you said, he's really talented at what he does, and he has written all those crazy parts, but it was already difficult for him to combine all these things, so there was a lot of pressure. But then we released This Is No Fairy Tale, which was a very complicated album also to play live, and that's where we kind of hit that spot where we're seeing like, okay, this kind of music really lends itself for theatrics, but also the way we have to play all this stuff is like locking us in. And we didn't want to be like this kind of dream theater band where you all are, which is really cool, but it's not this thing we want. So we have been changing ever since. And it was not easy for him to make that decision with us to say like, okay, I'm gonna purely focus on the vocals because he likes playing guitar and it was his thing. But I think it worked for the better because now I could always see like he's this crazy actor and now he's like owning the stage like completely crazy, and I think it worked for the best. But he's still playing and writing the guitar parts for the album, so that's the signature what you still hear. Yeah.
Where do you see yourself go in terms of theatrics and stage presence in the future? Would you guys maybe, if you had the opportunity, like to have a choir on stage or an orchestra like several black metal bands did, like Dimmu Borgir or Satyricon, for instance?
Maybe, but for me it feels like it has to be again intuitive. Like a lot of bands have done this, so right now I don't really feel like, oh, I want to do that, because it needs to be something original always. Like for example, the moving keyboard, we have some moving risers. Now we have this crazy doll, and everyone was thinking what's going to happen, but people like it. So I think we're going to develop from that, from a feeling, and we will come up with a new crazy idea. Maybe it will be a choir, I don't know, but so we are more like, we look at the music, we look at what we want and the direction we want to take, and then the ideas come. So we are not like looking at, oh, I want this and I want that from this band, and usually we have to develop it a little bit. You know, maybe you see us all flying in next year, or you see us, yeah, something like that, or the stage upside down. Or I'm always trying to think out of the box and crazy stuff, and also connected to the concept, because we're gonna have a new album hopefully next year, and then it would be cool to make some twisted stuff connected to that story again. Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Me neither, but yeah.
Okay. Are there any plans for a live album or a live Blu-ray release at some point?
Would be cool, not yet, but it is an interesting idea. I have to sit down with record label and stuff to see if that's a possibility. It would be a cool idea, yeah.
We've been waiting for that for years, but we'll be very happy to add that at some point. Okay, I'd like to talk a little bit about what you guys do outside of CARACH ANGREN, and I'll start by you, because you've been a very busy musician outside of CARACH ANGREN with your own compositions. You've been working on solo albums, and you have a new solo album coming out this year. Yeah. Could you tell us a bit more about what you've been doing outside of CARACH ANGREN, musically speaking?
Yeah, well, we came back home last year in December. We had done a lot of tours, And since then I've been consistently working every day almost on new compositions for CARACH, but also just what came into my mind, also for other projects again. And at some point I felt like I have 30 songs and I like them, but it was like no one is hearing them, and I felt a little bit unsatisfied, like I wanted to do something with it. So I had a couple of songs that I wanted to pitch maybe to other projects or artists, but I was like, I liked them. I sung some vocals on them. They were more industrial. So I thought, let's release them. And I started thinking about the idea, and at first I had like 2 or 3 songs. Then it became 4, in the end I had 5. So I decided to make like an EP. I had some artworks done, and then I mixed them better. I worked like a month or something on the production alone. Then I decided to have them mastered professionally in Germany, in a very good mastering studio I know, because they mastered the first CARACH ANGREN albums as well. And it started growing and it started going big, and I was like, okay, I want a lyric video, so I'm gonna have a lyric video. And then I was like, I want a video clip. So I recorded a video clip just before the tour. And now I'm promoting it a little bit, but it's gonna be something new. It's not gonna be like CARACH, it's gonna be a little bit crazy. People probably gonna say, what's he doing? But it was something like, I don't know. It felt like fun and it gave me energy to do that, so yeah. And it's nice, so yeah. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
And you guys have probably the best corpse paints I've ever seen in a black metal band. And Sergor is very gifted in terms of creating horror masks and everything. He has his own website, Sergor Death Masks. Is he the man behind the corpse paint?
Yeah, definitely. It's his thing. He has been developing it ever since, and now I can do it a little bit myself. But it's his idea, and how he does it. It's his gift, yeah, definitely. And the masks are insane. So yeah.
So how does this work? Do you guys put yourself in front of a mirror and try to make your own makeup, or do you paint yourselves? How does it work?
For years he has been doing all of us, like, so it was like building, and then we had sometimes like 3 minutes, and it was like tick, 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 white, and he was doing everyone. Now I do myself, and he does, but he still does the others and himself. So it's a lot of work. Yeah, we still do it that way. So.
Let's talk about the narrative songs. There are some songs at the beginning in the first albums, like in Lamendum, for instance, like Ex Machina Flesh, for instance, that are very theatrical. You know, it's spoken lyrics with a lot of acting. Is this something that you guys want to keep on doing in the future?
Maybe. We usually have one of those songs on every album, sort of. I think also we like to do new things, because what I told you before, like, I realized after 5 albums now that some things you don't want to become repetitive, and we started making music because we like it, and it's also easy to just do something that works in a formula. So, but it's also a risk to start changing things, because some fans will say like, I don't like it. So it depends on the story, but what I can say based on the new material, there is going to be a lot of new stuff. Also a lot of acting out, but already in the songs. We have a couple of songs with really some crazy lyrics in there, and Sergor is doing crazy stuff. So you see that some of these things are blending a bit more. And I think we have always had very complex songs. And what we are now trying to do is not to go the easy way, but make it more compact. For example, like a song we have Pitch Black Box. A song for the dead. There's still a lot of stuff going on, but it's more like bound together in a way. So that's more of the direction we are going into right now. Yeah.
You've been giving us some clues about the new album. Can you tell us now what we can expect from the next release?
Yeah, it's still early to tell you what it's all about and stuff, but yeah, what I said, it's going to be rather new. It's not going to be a copy of Dance and Laugh Amongst the Rotten. For me, that was like kind of a bridge album, because This Is No Fairy Tale was completely different. It was like super complex and very dark and a very hard album to absorb. And Dance and Love was also for me going a little bit back to Corpses Sing Forever, a little bit that came to Phantom Ship, and introduce some new stuff like Pitch Black Box, and we are going on that route on the next album. Yeah, but we have a very cool topic, which is going to be a very interesting lead. So yeah, hope to reveal more soon, but we have to still record it. So
When you record, do you work with a producer?
yeah, we have worked with Peter Tetkin on the latest albums, which is really cool. He's really a good producer. Before that was Patrick Damiani, also very good producer. Different style in producing, but now we're looking into possibilities for the new album, what we're gonna do, what fits the music.
Yeah, because your sound changed a lot through the years, starting in with Lamendam and now with the latest album. So I guess changing producers is also a way to evolve and do something different in each release.
Definitely, and I've learned myself a lot about producing, so a lot of the orchestration and the keyboards, and for example now the pre-production, I have a lot of songs, they have like almost everything done, so you can already clearly hear like what's working, what not, what should I take out. Usually it's more taking out than putting in. And that's really cool. So, and then I want to find someone that can take that a little step further and really feel, because you have to be convinced of what the band is doing and the goal as a producer, I think. Yeah.
As a composer, have you ever thought about composing for horror video games, for instance? I don't know if you played that type of games, but there's are like Amnesia or Outlast or stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard about it, but I never actually have gone after opportunities because it's a lot of work to, go in that direction. I've done a lot of short films over the years, 2 or 3 horror movies, short films, with director Tim Sagel from the Netherlands. Really cool movies, check it out. So that's fun, but my main thing is still CARACH ANGREN, of course. I have my solo stuff. I work with other bands on the orchestration, and so in between there's not really time to like go completely into a game composing career. But if someone would approach me, I would love to do it, and I would work very hard to make it.
I think you would do a tremendous job, an extraordinary job with that type of games. I have a little question for you as well. Is did you watch the Lords of Chaos movie about the story of the Mayhem story, like the biopic which was released a couple of months ago?
Not yet, but I heard of some things about it. There was some people like, it's good, and some told me it's bad, but I haven't watched it, so.
Kind of divided the middle listeners. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Okay, I think they're going to do like a special event in France now, and they're doing it probably in Europe. So probably they have like special broadcasting and stuff. So it's worth checking out. Okay. Well, I'll be interested to know what you guys think about it, because to me it was quite good, and they really capture the essence of what we think happened, and especially the like all the atmosphere, because it's a very dark and sad story, and they really captured the essence of that moment, and it's not too exaggerated, There's not a lot of epic music and dramatic orchestra hits at some points, but sometimes it's just death-like silence, and it really enables you to capture the essence of the moment. So, to me, it was quite good.
Great, yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Okay. Well, that's about it. Is there something you want to add for the people at United Rock Nations and the people that are checking us, who don't know about CARACH ANGREN and would like to know more about it?
Yeah. Well, I would say come out to one of the shows on this tour, and we really like France, and it's always a pleasure playing for you guys. So see you on the road.
Okay, Ardek, I'd like to thank you very much for your time today, and I can't wait to see you on stage in a few minutes. And I'd like to add, people at United Rock Nations, you definitely need to check out CARACH ANGREN. This is an amazing band, and hopefully you have the opportunity to see them on stage, because they are playing live in Europe now for 2 months.
Yes.
Pitch Black Summer Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Thanks a lot, Ardek.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.